I will start this week by saying we are building towards an eclipse. It's not happening this week. It's happening next week, but we can feel it building for sure. So the intensity is being leveled up. It's a little more intense, a little more intense, a little more intense. So what I want you to do is this week, I want you to pay attention to what surfaces. I want you to pay attention to what comes right into the forefront of your life. That is going to be your eclipse work for the eclipse next week. Okay. So we'll start there. This week we have Valentine's Day for those of you guys that celebrate. And again, a week before an eclipse happens, it feels like an intense week where we want to pay attention to what our work will be. And the way to do that, like I said, is simply to see what's showing up in the forefront of your life. Okay. And in the next 2 weeks, Aquarius is the star of the show. Aquarius is the boss of the world. There are so many things in Aquarius. Everything is in Aquarius. I'm looking at the chart here. Such strong air. We have Sun, Venus, Mars, Pluto. One, two, three, four. Everything is in Aquarius. This starts right around February 10th, and it's just going to intensify by February 17th and really strong Aquarius sky through February 20th. So the 10th through the 20th. Aquarius is the boss. Is going to tell us like it is, and sort of like we have to listen to them because they're ruling over everything right now. And they have a lot of lessons to teach us, Aquarius does. So let's start with Sunday, February 8th. We have that moon, which is still in Scorpio, squaring Mars. This happens at 12:53 p.m. Pacific. That moon in Scorpio squaring Mars over in Aquarius. And when the moon squares Mars, there is an angsty feeling to our emotions and our inner world. This can show up as fighting within family dynamics. This can show up as tension or challenges within our feminine connections, our friendships. It can show up as a lot of things sort of bubbling below the surface and ultimately erupting because Mars is not a quiet sort of energetic, and Mars in Aquarius can be a little bit spastic. So it just has the feeling of emotional eruptions, emotional explosions. We get triggered, we get angry a little bit easier. So Sunday, February 8th is really a day to hold yourself gently and dearly as people trigger us and as those bigger emotions come up. It's also a day where we want to look at our relationship to anger, our relationship to how we hold that, how we show it. A square to Mars usually can sometimes represent us stuffing it until it explodes, and then we burn bridges, right? So instead of that happening, how do we hold it in a softer way, but also allow the anger to come up and out because that's so important. So Sunday, February 8th, a lot of lessons around anger. How do we hold it? How do we express it? How do we let it out? Then Monday, February 9th, tricky day, we have the sun squaring the moon. Mom and dad are not getting along. The sun in Aquarius is squaring the moon in Scorpio. This will be exact early in the morning, so we sort of wake up under this tension. 4:43 a.m. Pacific. You know, Aquarius and Scorpio. If you put an Aquarius and a Scorpio in a room, they square each other. They have to figure out how to get along, and it's not easy because of that tension that a square creates. So the sun and the moon squaring, we feel this down here on Earth, and it's the inner world not getting along with what's happening on the outside of us. So we could have intentions for the day, goals for the day. We're looking at the day in a certain way, and then the day brings different things that are going to be creating tension to our own plans, right? It's a little bit clunky today. Aquarius is extroverted. I'm going to generalize Aquarius. Aquarius is extroverted. It's loud. It's in your face. It's shocking. It wants to do everything fast and quickly. And Scorpio is quiet. Scorpio is internal. Scorpio wants to sit back and observe and come up with like a really strategic plan, you know? And these two energies don't quite get along. So Monday, February 9th, the gift of moving a little bit slower and moving a little bit wiser and pausing before we react or we take a risk, or we jump is going to be really, really helpful. We can just feel a little bit annoyed or aggravated on on Monday, February 9th. Let's look at Tuesday. Tuesday, February 10th, Venus moves into Pisces at 2:18 p.m. February 10th all the way through March 6th. This is lovely for the Pisceans. Um, if your chart has Venus in Pisces, you're coming up on your Venus return, which is a really beautiful, juicy, love-filled, romantic, lucky week for you. So congratulations. When Venus is in Pisces, we're all living under this Piscean sky when it comes to relationships. So we fall in love easier. We get tricked easier. We have the wool pulled over our eyes much easier. It's harder to be in the reality of situations. We can put our partners or our loved ones or our crushes up on pedestals. We can assign them qualities that we wish they had, and we make believe they do have them. There's just a little bit of cloudiness. Yes, it's very spiritual, and it's also an ability to fall into unconditional love and find a lot of compassion and empathy and forgiveness under a Venus and Pisces sky. But it really is this idea of merging and becoming one. It's so sweet and it's so loving and it's so romantic. We really have to use more discernment around where we end and another person begins, because there's such a merging quality and everything is rose colored and everything is lovely. When this transit is over, there can be this feeling of waking up and being like, what was I thinking? So try to keep your wits about you with Venus and Pisces. And then the moon, that same day at 1:02 p.m., the moon squares Mercury. The moon is in Sagittarius, Mercury is in Pisces. And this is where the head and the heart, oh my gosh, you guys, my puppy is going crazy. She just stole one of my shoes and ran outside into the garden bed. Okay, we're going to keep going. The moon is squaring Mercury. The moon is in Sagittarius. Mercury is in Pisces. You put these two in a room together, Pisces and Sagittarius, they don't get along. Pisces is way too wishy-washy, way too soft. Sagittarius is too loud, too abrupt, too blunt for sweet, tender, sensitive Pisces. So Moon square Mercury, the head and the heart are not getting along, and it's a harder time making decisions or stringing together cohesive sentences. Communications get affected by this. We can be all in our emotions when we need to use the logic and practicality, or we could be practical and logical when a situation calls for some softening into the heart. They're not melding together very easy, and so we just have to work on that a little bit, be aware of it a little bit, because communications can go a little bit wonky with this one. Then we move under a happy little sky, February 11th, Wednesday, February 11th, the sun in Aquarius sextiles Chiron in Aries, puppy no, at 5:46 p.m. And the moon. Yeah, Chiron sextiles both of them, the sun and the moon. Oh, this is such a great sky. So this is a day of healing. This is a day where we heal the way we show up, the way we shine our light. It can feel like, where maybe we have been embarrassed before or made to feel shame before for shining too bright. Now we have this ability to heal and soothe that light that we shine and really step into our I am energy. Now, it's also sextiling, Chiron's also sextiling the moon in Sagittarius. And so there's an inner healing that comes in as well, right? There's an inner healing and an outer healing. The way I'm seen in the world and the way I am internally all gets healed through Chiron. So it's a happy little sky on February 11th, where we can really find love for ourselves, and we can really put our self-care first and incorporate any sort of healing practices, and also recognizing our worth, recognizing what we are deserving of with this under the sky. Then we come to a harder sky to be under. We have Thursday, February 12th. The moon is receiving some squares today, so there's emotional tension. The moon is squaring Saturn, and the moon is squaring Neptune, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. They're an hour apart. And so we're feeling both of these happening at the same time. The moon squaring Saturn today, Thursday, February 12th, makes it harder to express our feelings and harder to find the softness of heart connection. We can feel lonely today. There's a loneliness, like we can't quite be met with our own emotional support team, and it really has to come from within us rather than other people. So if you're looking for that in someone else, there could be disappointment today because Saturn wants you to do the emotional work of getting it from yourself. And then the moon squaring Neptune, this is where we have heightened sensitivity. That saying, don't take things personal? Can't do it when the moon is squaring Neptune. We're extremely sensitive. We're taking everything personally. And, there's also this way of being sort of easily manipulated, easily sort of played with or tricked or lied to. We really have to stand on our own today, almost. It's a lonely feeling. It's a solo feeling. It's a feeling of having to stand on our own and find our own medicine and be our own support system, have our own back rather than looking to others. All the while, our feelings are getting hurt while we're doing this. The moon is in Sagittarius, though, and Sagittarius likes to brighten or lighten things up a bit. So we do have that going for us. If we could find play today, if we could find freedom today, we don't really want to do anything that feels like I was going to say feels like an effort. Sagittarius can show up for effort, but as long as it is fun effort and they get something out of it, right? Some sort of teaching, leveling up, wisdom, higher wisdom, things of that nature. Then we have Friday, February 13th, you guys. Saturn is moving out of Pisces officially. There's no more retrogrades back into Pisces for Saturn. So Saturn moves into Aries once and for all. 4:11 p.m. Pacific. Saturn finally moves into Aries and stays there until April 2028. So we have 2 years of this, 2 years and a few months. We have discipline with self-assertion. We have momentum. We have mastering individuality. We get to work with anger. When Saturn is in Aries, Aries is so combustible and so risky and so ready to just jump and not really think about the consequences or the actions. But you put Saturn here, and Saturn allows that Aries instinct to sort of pause for a second, take note, bring in some discernment here. Now it's forward momentum, which is Aries, but with discipline, with direction, with a map to where we're actually going. That's what Saturn brings in. You know, Aries is also such an individual sign. It is the independent. It is the one who says, I am. Here I am. I don't need anyone else. Get out of my way. I got this. You put Saturn here, and we're mastering that individuality. We're refining it. We're defining it. We're bringing a lot of discipline and just focus to the self and how to better the self and work with our individuality. Aries is explosive. Aries is the warrior. Aries is anger and passion and rage. And it's the part of us that has no filters. But you put Saturn here, and hopefully, Saturn brings some awareness to how we react, to how we work with our anger. Um, so working with anger comes in that self-assertion, right? The ego. We're working with the ego now, the self-assertiveness that comes in. So Saturn and Aries, it's going to be interesting to watch how this unfolds collectively as well. Um, all that to say is Pisces is liberated. Pisces, you guys are liberated of Saturn just in time for Valentine's Day. Yay, Pisces. Saturday, February 14th, here we have Valentine's Day. The moon is in Capricorn all day until she moves into Aquarius at 10:15 p.m. Pacific. So Valentine's Day under a Capricorn moon, we might not be gifting flowers and chocolates and love letters under this particular sky. Instead, we're going to be doing practical things like filling up your wife's car tank with gas, or mowing the lawn for our partner, or going grocery shopping for them, in appreciation for them, right? It's like Valentine's Day takes on a very practical sort of an air, um, where it is romantic. It can be romantic under the sky. Oh my gosh, puppy! Can you guys hear that in the background? But it's more about the logical, practical way of things under a Capricorn moon. And it's also like this is a sky under which we want commitment, we want loyalty, we want longevity. There could be some proposals happening today. Capricorn is also the sign of marriage. You think of Libra as marriage. Oh, good. She went outside with her big plastic cup she's chewing on. But Capricorn is marriage in the way of signed contracts, longevity, commitment. We're doing this long term. So, those of you guys in partnership, there is an inclination to solidify the bond, to put it on paper, right, under this particular sky. So this moon is also trining the planet Uranus, which brings in, let's do something new and exciting today. Let's not do the same old thing today. Let's be open to new ways of doing things. A breath of fresh air could feel really good today, right? This happens at 5:30 p.m., right around dinner time. So those of you guys who are going out for maybe a dinner date on Valentine's Day, go somewhere you guys haven't gone before. Order something new and exotic. Things like that. Do something different and exciting that is outside of your norm for your Valentine's evening date. Okay. With Moon trining Uranus, that would be more successful of a date than a traditional date. So put that in your back pocket. Happy Valentine's Day, you guys.